Yay! I am live. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you are doing amazing today. Oh, I'd love to hear in the chat how the sound is doing, whether this is replay or live. This is my first live. I'm pretty excited. Highly sensing humans here. So I hope you are feeling brilliantly expansive today. If you're not feeling expansive, then buckle up. You're in the right place. I am Araceli Ware, and I am here to empower you as a highly sensing human to find clarity and confidence in your workspaces and beyond. So I am very excited to be here today. Before we get started, just a reminder to like this video and subscribe to my channel, Highly Sensing Humans, if you like what you hear in this video so that I can keep supporting you on your journey. I would love to support you. So today we are going to talk about why being highly sensing feels like a curse, right? Here are some things that I hear from empaths and intuitives. I call that highly sensing, right? So some things that I hear from highly sensing people about their gifts being a curse are things like, I can spend hours on the phone helping a loved one only to feel drained by the end of the call. And usually the follow-up question to that is, how do I get my energy back? I feel so depleted, right? So here's another one. This is a curse. This gift is a curse. I can't get away from it, right? How do I get the energy of others out of me? It's overwhelming and I'm constantly exhausted. So this kind of plays into the first one of, if I'm constantly getting this information and I'm constantly having other people's energy in me, it's kind of, sucking the life out of me. I feel exhausted and that feels like a curse. And I agree with you. In that state, it can feel like a curse. So I have been there before. This is what we're here to talk about today. Here's another one. I find that I can't stand to be around other people. Woo! I could do a whole video on this. And a lot of it just has to do with that constant cycle of your energy supply constantly being drained, right? So if you're an empath or an intuitive and you're giving, 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 if you're not finding ways to kind of fill your cup back up, then this is probably you. And I will talk today about why that happens. Um, Here's another one. My loved ones don't understand and they think I am crazy. So I try to tell my loved ones, or you try to tell your loved ones, I'm an empath, and they're like, what does that mean? Right? You have empathy for people, everyone has empathy, right? But it's not the same thing. Being able to sense the emotions, physical or emotional pain or joy of others is a real thing, and not everyone understands it, and that's okay. Part of the reason I started this channel is to help normalize this in a conversation, right? So I'm here to support you in that. I wish people would hold space for me the way I do for them. I need support and I need help too. That is a common one. Why don't people hold space for me in the same way? And we will talk a little bit about this from the curse aspect later on in the video. I do think this one could also be its own video. Empaths and intuitives, because you feel so deeply, you can definitely hold space in a unique way. And we're going to talk about those gifts today. So it seems intuitive to you. Unfortunately, it's not intuitive to everyone. The good news is today I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can use your highly sensing skills as a way to kind of reteach the world of ways to hold space, for example, for other people. So I feel like you're part of the solution, and we're going to talk about that a bit. So any one of these, like I said, could be their own topic. If you're interested in one specifically, please let me know by putting in the comments, here's the curse that I would love to hear about, whether I mentioned it or you have one of your own. I would be happy to do a video on that. Just let me know by putting it in the comments. All right. So, I will talk about why your highly sensing nature feels like a curse and how that happens later in the video. But first, I would love to paint a picture of possibility for you because there is a place for your highly sensing skills in this world, and it's a very important place. So, I'm going to start out by asking, what if I told you that your highly sensing gifts can actually be the powerful tools that can fuel your strong desire to live a life that is aligned with your soul's purpose, so that you are living in a way where you know exactly how you add value in everything that you do? All right. You're probably asking, how can my empath and intuitive skills help me fuel my life's purpose? Come on, Araceli. We're here talking about the curse of my skills. I'm going to paint this picture for you, though. I have three ways that your highly sensing skills can offer unique value in everything that you do. And the first way is you have the unique ability to see people exactly where they are at without them even saying a word to you. You can tell if something is off, right? You know exactly when something is off. So imagine if you were able to get to the point where you learned how to move the energy that is coming at you to move through you so you don't have to hold on to it, so it doesn't deplete your energy supply. And once you do get to this point, then you can embrace this first way to add value and impact on others, which is seeing them exactly where they're at. And it is such a gift to be seen. Part of the beauty of being human is being seen. It's to be witnessed on our journey. That's why we love telling each other stories. That's why we love being heard, because we want to be witnessed. It is part of human nature. Okay, so think about it. It's one of the main things that I hear from empaths and intuitives, and we just talked about it a little bit ago. I wish people would hold space for me the way I do for them. Well, they love it when you hold space for them, right? It's human nature to want to be witnessed and to be seen in your life in the way that it is unfolding. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. So, all right. So, you want to be seen in your life experience, in your pain, in your joys, in the same way that you're able to see others. And that's why I started with this one, because it is such an important part of the human journey. If you can shift your perspective a little bit and imagine that this is what you are doing for people, you're helping them to be seen, then I'll talk a little bit later about why I think that can help you be seen, right? So, first, I'm going to start out with a little story. I remember years ago, I was working full time in corporate, and our leadership team asked us to come up with a creative way we could add value to the organization. And I decided to start a meditation program. I'd never done anything like that before. And a couple of things happened that helped me feel seen and helped me ultimately embrace this part of my journey. So, the first thing that happened is I was thinking about doing this. I thought it was great. It was something I wanted to give back. I wanted this simple tool to help people feel balanced in the workplace. And as I was thinking about it, I was bouncing the idea off a couple people, and people were like, "Okay, yeah, sounds great," right? Well, then I ran into an attorney that worked for the organization, and I told them about the idea of starting this meditation program. And I also told them, I don't know if I feel qualified, told them my life story, like, yeah, I've been doing it for decades. And, this amazing attorney must have sensed all of this hesitation and just kind of felt into my experience. And they encouraged me immediately, just start. You won't be qualified until you start. Go get experience. Just start the program, do it, dive in, don't even hesitate. And you know what? because that individual saw me, I launched the program. And about a year into the program, I was doubting myself again. And one of the attendees that had frequently come since the beginning sensed that I was struggling with my confidence in hosting this space. And I wasn't sure if I was adding value. So I was really contemplating closing the program down and stopping it. And this person came that week that I was really, working through this problem for myself, came to the meditation and stopped me and said, "These are incredibly helpful. They have made all the difference for me. And I look forward to them every single week. It gives me so much reprieve from the stresses of my day to day and my work that I'm so grateful that you started." And that was my answer because that person saw me. They gave me the gift of seeing, oh, shoot, this is helping people. I am adding value and I have to keep going. And I did. Okay. And I tell you this story because each of these people, if they hadn't followed what their intuition was telling them and what they were sensing in me, then I probably never would have started the program and I never would have kept it going. And I'm so proud now to say that it's been 6 years and I hear it's still running and it's a strong program. I handed it off when I left. People still love the program. And I don't know how many people I impacted by that program, and maybe I'll never know. But after it running for 6 years, oh my goodness, if I have given 10 people reprieve consistently for 6 years, I'm thinking that it has made all the difference. So, that is just an example of when we see people, the impact that we can have on them. And as intuitives, we are in a unique position to really have a strong impact on others. And a lot of times we don't think about it that way. So I might not even be here today encouraging other empaths and intuitives to embrace their gifts if I hadn't been, if it hadn't been for these two people, these two intuitives helping me along on my journey. So that's amazing, right? So you see, this gift is so important to someone else and it can make a huge difference in somebody else's life. You know that being seen is a skill, and it's a skill that is a bit lost. But as intuitives and empaths, you likely feel unseen in many ways. So you know what that feels like. And it is something that we have to relearn as a society. And I think that highly sensing humans, such as yourself, are in a unique position to lead the way in that, right? To lead the way in a way that is modeling the behavior that we want to ourselves receive, right? We know the pain of not being seen, but when we think about being able to see others and think about it as a skill of holding space for someone to be seen, our loved ones can't always hold space for us if they're not empaths and intuitives because they don't have that skill. It's not normalized in culture. So I really feel very strongly that empaths and intuitives have a very strong opportunity here to be the people that pave the way to show that behavior in normal everyday society and model the way. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. So here's the reason why it's not an everyday skill and why the skill is lost. There are a lot of distractions in modern times. People have busy schedules, they have mobile devices, they're inundated with news, they've got lots of things going on with their loved ones and their families. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm gonna take a drink of water. All right. So people are so distracted that being seen and seeing others, it's just not something that's in their realm of understanding, in their everyday kind of thought process. They're like so looking at their device that they're not thinking about it, right? So model the way, be someone who teaches others with your highly sensing skills. So the art of being seen, like I said, is lost, and that's why you get frustrated when you aren't supported, because you are an intuitive and you want others to hold space the same way that you do for others. So by choosing to use your highly sensing nature as a gift to see others means that you're normalizing the act of holding space for seeing people and quite possibly teaching them that skill by simply doing it. Can you imagine a world where spending the time to hold space and see someone exactly where they are? What kind of healing happens in a world like that? What impact can that have on the culture of your workspaces? How could that impact the trajectory of a loved one? Think about that. All right. Here's number two. Highly sensing humans are in a unique position to help others build bridges between their differences. This is one of my favorites of all time. Highly sensing humans are in a unique position to help others build bridges between their differences. And this is because you sense the world around you at a deeper level. You have the perspective of many, many points of view, and you can choose to feel into each of those perspectives to help others understand one another. There is so much controversy and passionate debate going on in the world right now. And for those of us, those of you who feel many sides of an issue, you are in a unique position to help bridge the gap so that people can start communicating in a way that is constructive and moves us forward as a society. This has really come into play for me this year as new leadership has come into office. There are so many different perspectives in my social circles and community, and there's so many passionate debates going on online. I see these debates and I hear from loved ones, and I really feel into how right each individual person feels, how passionate each individual person is, right? And I get asked a lot, please help me understand the perspective of the other, right? Whatever their perspective is, they say, please help me understand the perspective of the other because I don't understand it. So you see, we can play a very important role in situations where there are a lot of conflicting views and information by feeling into each perspective. That's what empaths and intuitives do. They can literally feel in their bones, in their souls, what others are feeling around them, and sometimes in a community level, sometimes at a global level. And not everybody has that ability. So we have all of these people out there with opposing views who are massively confused. And if if there's someone available who can help them kind of bridge the gap, then maybe a healthy conversation begins there by orienting, helping people orient themselves, by asking the right questions to bring out the constructive conversation because you're able to feel all sides, right? I am so passionate about this topic. And maybe I'll do a video later to go deeper in how empaths and intuitives can be what I'm going to call cultural bridge builders in modern times. This is a huge one because if you have the gift to be able to perceive others' life experience, then you have the gift to help facilitate a conversation and bridge the gap between people because there's a lot of pain going on right now and people need a lot of healing and they're seeking a lot of understanding. It's hard to tell because there's a lot of controversy and attacking going on, but really beneath all of that, I truly believe, just based on the one-on-one conversations that I have, that people really do want to understand because they want to move forward. They don't want to live in this sludge all the time, right? So, if you'd like to hear more about that topic, just drop cultural bridge builders, please, in the comments, and I will make sure that I line up that topic for one of these videos. So, put that in the chat, cultural bridge builders, please, and I'll make sure that we line up that topic. Okay, the third way, here's the third way. Highly sensing humans can use their gifts to add value is by anticipating the bigger picture, because you have more information coming into your senses. You can feel the world around you that is providing you information on the current state of your environment. But if you're intuitive, you also have information dropping in that's helping you see how things unfold in different scenarios, bigger picture, right? So before I dive deeper into this one, I want to pause for 1 minute to ask a question. Can you put in the comments if you consider yourself an empath and an intuitive? Okay. I hear people a lot of times relate to one or the other. I am an empath or I am an intuitive. I am both. And I actually read earlier this week something that suggested that many empaths are intuitives. So I would love to hear from you to understand the dynamic out there, right? Are you an empath only? Are you an intuitive only? Or are you an empath and an intuitive? I'd love to hear back on that. So go ahead and put that in the comments and help me with my little research project here, because that when I read that, I was like very interested in that information. So, as far as anticipating the big picture, if you are an intuitive, then maybe you receive calls like this from loved ones asking for advice. A lot of times it goes something like this. I received this job opportunity, and then this other job opportunity came up, and it's so exciting. And I've done I've thought through this. Here's the pros and cons of each. I even made a list. And I'm kind of torn. I don't know where to go. All right. So a lot of times people call, for my intuitives out there. They call and they say something like, "What are you getting?" Right? So they kind of want you, probably without even consciously thinking about it. People want your wisdom, or what are you getting, or what's landing for you, right? They want you to guide them based on the intuitive information that's coming through for you. All right. So in this scenario, I'm able to use my intuition. You are able to use your intuition on what's coming through. And then you can help guide them based on what's coming up, right? Well, if you go this way, this is what I'm hearing or seeing. If you go this way, this is what I'm hearing or seeing. But you really need to make this choice on your own. This is an example of how your highly sensing skills can help you anticipate the big picture. Okay. So the other way that this kind of goes is for my empaths out there, you get the same call, right? But if you're not intuitive and you're just going off your empath energy, then what you are doing in this situation is you are reflecting back to that individual the feelings that they're having a hard time isolating, because they know that they have these two options, and they're like logicking their way. They're using their brain to say this or that, pro, con, pro, con, pro, con. They have all these like logical things going on, and they're not sinking in and tapping into what am I really feeling? And am I really willing to accept what I'm feeling? Or am I allowing all of these external variables like finances, supporting my family, feeding my family, putting a roof over my family's head, right? That's all overshadowing what they're really probably have going on instinctually. So, for my empaths out there, if you get this call, for you, you're probably reflecting back to them what they're feeling at their core, but having a hard time either isolating or accepting. So, this is an example of how your highly sensing skills can help anticipate the big picture or help others with the big picture. Okay. This can be very, very valuable in family planning. Do we buy a house now? Do we sell the house now? What do we do now? What do we do later? Maybe helping kids with planning, life planning, like you're leaving the house. Do you do college? Do you go straight into work? Do you start a trade? Right. And helping them intuit what's happening outside of that research. And then for those of you at work, building and overseeing plans for a big project and anticipating where to be before something happens to keep that work on track is going to be an extremely valuable skill that you might already be doing and that you don't realize is even part of your highly sensing nature, right? That happened to me a lot in corporate. How did you do that? How did you build that huge plan? And at one time I even tried to write down the process, and I was like, wait a minute, this is my intuition. Like, some of this is my intuition. I'm listening to others at a deeper level, and I'm listening to the intuitive information coming in at a deeper level. So I realized very quickly, oh my gosh, I have this ability to kind of see big picture and build these larger plans. So that is another way that your gifts can really empower you. Can also be something that empowers you to be a big vision person for product change or for sales that needs to take place. So, if you've liked what you've heard so far, remember to like and subscribe my channel to catch future videos. All right, so this is all great, right? I painted the picture of three ways that your highly sensing nature can help fuel your soul's purpose and add value. But how do you go from exhausted, disoriented, and overwhelmed to being an empowered, highly sensing human, right? Here's the first thing you need to understand. The reason being an empath or an intuitive feels like a curse is because you are conditioned to fit into the boxes of normal. From the day that we are born, we are conditioned to act in certain ways and to conform to each environment that we're in. We're told who to be, how to be. We're even told what the progression of life should look like, depending on where you live and what your family and community norms are. Sometimes it looks something like this. You're a kid, you grow up, you go through school, then you go to school, you get married, you have kids, get married, go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, retire, right? Those are all like, it's like all laid out for us. Where's the excitement and creativity there, right? So we're put into these boxes right away. And we are taught to trust societal norms and accept the boundaries of who we should be. So here's your box. This is who you should be. This is how you should be. To top it off, being highly sensing is not normalized. It's almost as if being an empath or an intuitive doesn't really exist, right? So not only does your gift feel like a curse because you've been like shoved in this box of your normal looks like this, so live in here. Oh, and by the way, these gifts that you think are real, they're not, because they're not normalized. So that'll just drive you to crazy town if you let it, right? Though, that being highly sensing, you're bringing in a lot of information through your senses and the world around you. So think about this. Now you know that you're conditioned to live in the normal box, and take that information along with, I also intuit a lot of other people's energy, whether it's through my empath or my intuitive. So I have all of this other information coming through. And when everyone else is also conditioned to fit into the standard definition of normal, then that's a lot of people who feel smothered, anxious, and disoriented. So not only are you feeling like you're in a box, but now you have the opportunity to absorb everyone else's smothered, anxious, disoriented feelings because of your empath and intuitive capabilities. This in turn creates what I like to call the empath and intuitive tornado. Since we are conditioned to adapt to what we are told is normal, you are limiting yourself. That breaks self trust, and then that breaks our self confidence or your self confidence. And then it really disorients you with your empath and intuitive information coming through. It's just this, never ending swirling that ends up happening inside of us. And this energy becomes very disoriented. This very disorienting because not only do we feel disconnected from who we are at our core because of that definition of normal, but we're also swirling because of that. And then we're sucking in all of this other disoriented energy that is really others. So it's just one giant swirl. Okay. So here's what we have to do, right? Well, how do I get rid of it, Araceli? We have to begin orienting ourselves to our true nature. You have to reset the foundation for yourself first in order to move into a state where you can incorporate your gifts into your day to day in a way that empowers your soul's purpose. And you do this by creating a firm foundation for yourself. There's 4 main steps that I'm going to go over here. First thing you need to do is break through your own limiting beliefs. All of those limiting beliefs that we've collected as we've been learning these norms throughout our childhood, we have to start understanding those limitations, accepting where we got them, and have adopted that limited mindset, accepting that we played a role in adopting that limited mindset. And then we need to start working through resolving those limitations by doing the healing work necessary to move past them. It's nobody's fault the way this happened. I know it does feel like somebody's fault. I've been there, right? Having these limiting beliefs and wanting someone to be at fault, blaming someone, right? And then torturing myself by blaming myself. But really, this is just the way that the world has evolved. So if you try to pinpoint who, you might drive yourself insane. So that's why we start here. We have to break through those limiting beliefs, move past them, right? Do the healing work because they're not serving us. They're just holding us back and limiting us. Once you get past those, then you start building your self-trust and remembering who you are in your true nature when you were born, how expansive you knew you were. This takes you back to who you are at your core, right? And then we start embracing the day-to-day rituals that are going to help you move into a deeper self-trust as you guide yourself through the process of what is true and what is normal. And once you have built that self-trust, then you start gaining the confidence and grounding in your empath and intuitive senses. This is where you start doing the cool work of differentiating between your energy and the energy of others. You start learning to ground yourself in your own energy so that you're no longer that tornado swirl sucking in everybody else's swirl. Now you're grounded, and that energy comes in is going to be handled differently because it's not being absorbed like a sponge anymore, right? Then the fourth step is really building those grounding strategies to maintain that expansive state where you have strong self-trust and confidence. Setting a daily practice of staying in your expansiveness and self-trust and confidence. Okay, so break through your limiting beliefs, building self-trust, gaining confidence and grounding in your empath and intuitive senses, and then building the grounding strategies to maintain that expansive state so that you can stay in strong self-trust and confidence. All right. If you want to explore these tips more deeply, then I highly recommend you're going to want to click on the link in the description below to sign up for the newsletter, or put the word newsletter in the comments and I will get the link over to you. Remember, if what you heard today moved you, then remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And again, you can sign up for the newsletter to receive bonus tips by clicking the link in the description. I would love to be part of your highly sensing journey. Thank you for spending this time with me. Namaste, sweet souls. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.